Hey, Jim, do you have one of those fancy 5-speed sports cars?
Oh, yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
Not.
He has a minivan. He's a dad.
Yeah, with triplets.
Thanks, Jim. A lot of folks do drive a stick shift. I used to. My Jeep was a 5-speed. So how is your clutch running?
Did you know that there are hydraulic components that need to be maintained? This morning, our Monday morning mechanic David Rogers from Keller Brothers Auto Repair is here showing off how those parts can get worn down and an inexpensive way to maintain them. Hey, David.
Hey, how are you today?
Good, thanks.
Good, good. Yes, I am here showing off. It's one of the things I do best, but today we're going to show off some parts. Hey, we don't often think about how that clutch works when we're stepping down with it on with our foot. So the thing I want to just talk about today is that fluids actually make that possible. What I have here are some hydraulic fluids, and this is taken from a clutch that was destroyed by not changing the fluid. And basically where those fluids run, this is a line, this is a hydraulic line. You can kind of see that, you know, it's got some special fittings and whatnot. The fluids run through there, but where they're stored is in a master cylinder. And this typically here, it'd be a good example of one. You'll only see this part. It's going to be inside the car. You know, probably what you'd see is something along the lines of this. It'll be somewhere strapped to the firewall or another portion of the car. But what happens is that fluid goes in there and it allows you, when you push the pedal, it engages the clutch. So it's absolutely critical to its function. You can see here with this corrosion that this one was destroyed by a lack of changing fluid. It's just completely chewed up and it's got all this scaling and white stuff on there. That's a result of bad fluid. And when something like that happens, you're going to experience a failure in that clutch. You're either not going to be able to shift gears, or you're going to feel a lot of play in the pedal. In other words, you'll push the pedal but nothing will happen. It'll be hard to get it into gear or out. And the fact is that a repair for something like that can be very expensive. This little dinky looking thing could cost you $200 or $300. So when you think about that, just for the part and then the labor on top of it, it's pretty serious business. These are secondary cylinders. This and this here are actually just do the same thing, even though they look so very, very different and a different design. But the fact is, you've got all these components that are affected by this fluid, and that's critical. Now, the other thing to think about when we think about a clutch is adjusting it. And some clutches, believe it or not, today are still adjustable. So if that pedal's not feeling right, you're not feeling it engage right away when you step it in, bring it in and we may be able to adjust the clutch cable, and that's what this is. Some of them actually have adjustments and some don't, but if you get it in and get it adjusted and not just continue to drive on it, you're going to keep the clutch operating properly and make it last much, much longer. There's a couple things I want to tell you about driving on a clutch. Number one, when you're sitting at the stop sign, don't rest your foot on the pedal ever so lightly. Any kind of pressure, and I mean just barely touching it, is going to wear on the clutch. It's going to cause this friction material to wear off on the clutch itself because it's actually touching when you're touching the pedal. The other big issue is don't rev the car up and then drop it into gear. If you want to race somebody, wait until the car's already in motion to shift. Don't rev it up and then drop it in. That tears clutches up. It absolutely will shred all this friction material off and make a bird's nest. Finally, if you feel anything odd in the clutch, get it in and get it inspected. I'll tell you what I'll do. If you come in and say News, you watch News 2, I will inspect it for you for free. Just bring it in so that you don't wear it out. It could cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and it's critical to maintain like every other part of the car. Be easy on your clutch. Don't rock it back and forth when you get stuck, and change that fluid and you'll save a lot of money.
Certainly makes a big difference, David. Thanks.
Good advice. I let Angie drive my 5-speed once.
Oh, you did?
She ground that thing.
I believe you would do that.
It was only once, and I had to take it to Keller Brothers.